Testing the water pump. This pipe comes straight from the pump into the steam boiler to gain some heat, then out of the steam boiler, then into the coffee boiler. Let's see if any water comes out. I mean, water's coming out, but it's intermittent. Maybe the pump is on its way out. Boiler is full of water. When you see water coming out of the hot water spout, that means the boiler level is full. That's a good sign. That's how I can ensure that the boiler level is enough to not overheat the coffee boiler when it turns on as it heats up. And at least the pump is okay, working okay, not the best. It's usually much stronger than this. Well, that's alright, we can work with that at least for diagnosis. Water is really hot out of the coffee boiler, which is, I guess, a sign that it can heat up. I can hear the steam boiler heating up as well. I can also hear the steam boiler filling up if I disconnect the water level probe, which stops if I connect it. So at least the steam boiler pump works, and the steam boiler coil works. So we'll see what happens after we reach 93. Our theory of bad pump is being confirmed as we speak. So I think this is a bad pump. If you cannot hear the pump when you turn on the pump, it's a bad pump. And as you saw before, the flow is intermittent. In fact, even before the video I recorded before, when I was trying to run the hot water tap, nothing would come out for the first 20 seconds. So that means at least your solenoid is working fine. Honestly, the solenoid is a more painful, risky repair than the pump, so that's fine. Let's change the pre-infusion pressure to set to 100%. So at least water flow. There we go. The pump needs a bit of time. Let's see if it holds full pressure. Hold it in place. It's taking its time. Yeah, definitely the pump is not great. The ideal pressure for coffee is 9.5, 9. It's barely getting to 8, and it's fluctuating as well. So the pump is definitely not in great shape. There you have it. That's the pump issue. As for the overheating issue, I can't see the machine overheating. In fact, it's fairly okay at 93 degrees. I'll let it stay on for the first few minutes, for a few more minutes. But so far it's been on for like 3 minutes now. No problems. I can steam. Although I did notice from the beginning, when opening the machine, there was rust on the boiler, so that means it's been leaking before. And I suspect when the motherboard was changed, if it was changed properly, I'm just going to assume it was, when the motherboard was changed, the seals probably weren't changed, because I had a look at them and they weren't in great shape. And some of these probes are leaking if you listen. So that means they're on their way out. If they're not actively leaking, that's better than when they're actively leaking. But that if they're not actively leaking, but leak when you press on them, that means they're bad and on their way out. Yeah, so I would recommend changing the pump, the O-rings on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and if it's the new boiler design, 17. Can you see that one? That one, going from the steam pump all the way down to the side. 17 is there. That's a very, very important one. If we don't change that, it might slowly leak over the years. If it hasn't been already, I can't really look at it without my torch. But yeah, if it's been leaking for a while, it could be stuck and rusted in place. So it's highly recommended we change it every 2 years, every 3 years, just to be safe. Otherwise, if we don't, boiler will slowly leak, boiler will rust, boiler will crack, and need a new one to replace it. We can also change this one, but it looks like it's got the metal nut fittings on them, so I'll leave it as is. It's more difficult to access, that one, plus it's less likely to leak. Cool, that's 17, 18 O-rings I recommend, and the pump. And also, the probes, we can change them to brand new ones, but for about half the price. We can refurbish them, so I can open them up, clean them with steel wool, but also I can remove these clips. Oh, it's very hard to see on video. I can remove these tiny clips, remove the metal from this white part, change the small O-ring inside of them. What else? Change the small ring, and then put silicone grease and put them back on. I've done that so many times. I use the O-ring that is a bit thicker than Breville one, actually. Breville's one looks like this. Let me show you. So when I refer to the pipes O-rings, they are the red sort of size 007 ones. So these ones, there's 2 on these, there's 2 on these, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. They look like this. That's the O-ring I would change. This is a good condition one. A bad condition one would be either small, wrinkled, cracked, discolored, ripped, etc, etc. And when I'm talking about the probe O-rings, they have these tiny, tiny ones inside of the probe itself. They are this big. And this is the genuine Breville one. The one I use is a bit thicker. It's slightly different material as well. It's a bit tougher as well. So it lasts a bit longer than the genuine Breville one, from my experience at least. And I add silicone grease just to make sure they last a bit longer. Cool, machine hasn't overheated. I've been recording this video for almost 8 minutes now. Let me confirm that the machine isn't overheating by going into the service menu, pressing a few buttons, turning it on, letting the machine do its dance. It's going through the LCD lights and all the button lights. There we go. Boiler is at 93 degrees. That's the coffee boiler. Steam boiler is at 135, which is great. Group head is at 88, which is great. Everything is as normal. I wouldn't say the machine is still overheating. As far as the first iron I told you, maybe the motherboard was the issue. Likely it is. If it's been overheating and leaking steam, it's likely that the steam leaks caused the motherboard to corrode and go bad. So now it's a new one and it's behaving well. So yeah, just the pump and the O-rings to prevent any further issues.